Hello, beautiful sacred souls. Today we're going to explore trauma-informed spirituality, why nervous system healing is the missing link in spiritual awakening. I want to explore something that feels deeply important and very alive for me right now. It's the intersection between spirituality, trauma healing, and the nervous system. Specifically, I want to talk about why so much of spiritual teaching is not trauma-informed and how that can unintentionally create shame, self-blame, and spiritual bypassing, even when the teaching themselves are loving and well-intentioned. And I want to offer a new framework that feels both spiritually aligned and deeply compassionate. One that honors the intelligence of our nervous system and the lived reality of those of us that have experienced trauma. Many spiritual teachings emphasize ideas like heart alignment, high vibration, trusting your soul, flow, manifestation, ascension. And while these teachings are beautiful and true, they often don't account for trauma or nervous system conditioning. From a trauma-informed perspective, we begin to understand something crucial. If the nervous system does not feel safe, the body cannot follow the heart. So when spiritual teaching suggests that we simply need to align, trust, or raise our vibration, this can unintentionally create shame for those whose nervous systems are stuck in survival. Because trauma is not a mindset problem. It's a physiological survival adaptation. Let's explore trauma and the nervous system. For those of us who grew up in environments where emotional safety, consistency, or attuned care were missing, the nervous system learns to prioritize protection over connection, to scan for threat rather than openness, to brace instead of soften. And this is not a failure of consciousness. It is a brilliant biological intelligence. And in these cases, the body may experience things such as anxiety, or shutdown, or depression, or hypervigilance, or dissociation, or emotional flooding. And no amount of positive thinking, affirmations, or spiritual striving can override this, because the nervous system does not respond to logic. It responds to safety, presence, and relational attunement. And I want to name something. Even if you have not experienced trauma in childhood, society is systemically exposing us to trauma. Look at the news, look at social media, look at what's happening around the world. Our nervous systems can be trained just through normal interaction with society to adapt to trauma responses. And our nervous system can actually not feel safe in today's society, given the constructs of the way society is structured. So this resonates for all of us, not just for those of us that have a trauma history. I want to explore why spiritual teachings often miss this truth. It's because humanity is only now becoming trauma aware. The language of nervous system regulation and attachment wounds and developmental trauma and somatic healing is relatively new in human history. And spiritual traditions tend to evolve with human consciousness, not ahead of it. Even channeled messages, and I am a spiritual channeler, no matter how profound they are, still pass through our human brain, our human nervous system, our human belief structure, and our human language system. So even transmissions require co-creation between spirit and the human embodiment. This doesn't mean that channelers' messages are wrong. It simply means that they are filtered through the developmental stage of that person's human consciousness. Here's a trauma-informed reframe that has been life-changing for me, and it may resonate for some of you. Alignment is not something we force or acquire to become. Alignment naturally returns as safety is restored internally. When early trauma or societal structures disrupt our connection to the heart, the body learns not to trust the heart. It learns not to trust what I call the inner compass or our divine nature. Healing actually becomes the process of creating internal safety, befriending the nervous system, building compassionate relationship with our inner children, learning how to regulate rather than override. And as this happens, our heart alignment returns organically, not through effort, not through spiritual striving, but through gentle relational healing. This removes the shame, this removes self-blame, and this removes the idea that we are somehow broken or spiritually failing. Instead, it honors the wisdom of survival. Let's explore the concept of spirituality and co-creation. From this perspective, spirituality becomes less about ascension and more about integration, not leaving the body, but inhabiting it into wholeness. This is where, in my lived experience, I experience spirituality not as something descending from above, but as something co-created through embodied presence. Spirit moves through a healed nervous system, through safety, through regulation, through connection. This is where mysticism and neuroscience meet. And this feels like the next evolution of spiritual consciousness. If you have ever felt like spiritual teachings make you feel broken, behind, or not evolved enough, I want you to hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. Your nervous system adapted brilliantly to survive. Healing is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you were before survival took over. And that remembering happens through safety, compassion, and connection, not pressure or striving. If this teaching resonates, I invite you to explore more through my work. My book, The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World, may be a supportive resource as it is trauma-informed and bridges spirituality, psychology, neuroscience, and mysticism. Or you can visit my website for resources, online courses, blogs, and meditations at blossomingheartwellness.com. And if this video resonated, I invite you to like, subscribe, comment, or share to help more people integrate trauma-informed spirituality. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing your inner work. And thank you for co-creating healing with spirit and with yourself. This is how we heal the world.